So the next day comes, right, and we're all proper flying. That flying's all been on it all night and all that in the bar and that. So I fell a kip early and that. And like, you know, when you fall a kip in a place like that, you're lucky if you wake up with eyebrows. So, you know what I mean? I was like, so like anyone comes near me while I'm a kip and watch what happens. So it was like, nah, we won't anybody. Yeah, I know you won't. That's why I know you won't. So as I get to the morning, I got a few missed calls off my mate. I haven't seen my mate for ages, right? My mate's called Thomas. So I'm thinking, oh wait, what team we give me for now? Thomas's birth's dad. He's like some big proper head and that. They call the old bands, right? The proper heavy, right? Heavy. And the dad is who I got the lights off. He's like the military, you know, like the contact who got it all sorted for us. So I'm sitting there thinking, no, wait, why is he ringing me? So he phoned me up and I went to the phone. Like, what's happening, Thomas, lad? He's like, Scouse, what's happening, lad? So what's happening? He said, have you heard anything? I said, what do you mean, lad? He said, have you heard anything, like, about anything that happened last night? I went, nah, lad, nah. He went, but it was fucking, it was Granddad's funeral where I went, I know, lad, I know. I said, I heard about that, lad. I said, I was going to pop in, lad. I said, but just up the wall and all. He's like, yeah, I know, lad, I know. Because I don't even know, I don't know the guy, lad, I don't like that, but I know him and I know the dad, you know, I know Lindsay as well. So he's just telling me this mad story. He's like, lad, and then we went to some, like, the gaff after and all that, and this is that, and I'm like, what? I said, you messing, lad. He went down, he went a bullet ricochet, lad, and it hit some kid who was in another party, and it hit Lindsay, and I'm just like, ah, lad, she alright? He's like, nah, lad, she was pregnant, didn't even tell me. I'm like, what do you mean, lad? He said, the kid who got it, he was nothing to do with it, he was just at a party over the road, it was his birthday or something like that. I said, yeah. I said, what's happened to him? He's like, nah, he was only hit in the shoulder, he's sad. I said, is he? Like, yeah, that's heavy, that, you know, that's proper heavy. That kid had nothing to do with it. Ah, mate, proper heavy. So I'm just listening, right? But just like wide awake now, just like, no, and I'm thinking in my head, God help them, mate. God help whoever that was. He's going, keep your ear to the ground for me, lad. I'm like, yeah, I will, of course, lad. So he's telling me in detail and all, and he's going, these two kids pulled a bunch of runs and all that, started letting off. Thomas's brother, he's a proper heavy kid and all that. And I know these were no one, I'm not saying they were no one, because they've always been bangers, but like, he got with this bird, this Lindsay bird, right? And he's ended up like doing a brother in, like battered him in the house or something like that the first night. It's all the ins and outs, but he hasn't told me, but a few people have told me, do you know what I mean? And he's every kid, like, don't get me wrong, and he's like, you know, he's going places in, and he's like, he's not my good mate, but he's an alright lad, you know, I've seen him a few times, a little bit and all that, got respect for him, he's got respect for me, do you know what I mean? So, I will keep me to the ground, but, mate, you know what, let me tell you now, God help whoever that was, you mean? So I'm like, listen, lad, if you need a touch and all, he's like, yeah, no, nice one, lad, we'll be alright, but they will be alright, because these are proper heavy, do you know what I mean? They're proper heavy. It's good to have allies and mates like that, you know what I mean? Because, you know, if I ever needed them, I'd call on them, but I would never need them, and no, they'd never need us, you know, we're separate firms and all that, but they're good to do bits with, you know what I mean? Because the dad's absolutely smashed it, lives in this, like, big, proper mansion, like a 32-bedroom mansion or something mad like that. And I've been once to see him, do you know what I mean? I've been once to see him, and we were talking about, you know, getting all these, like, the military lights and all. He's the one who put me on it. He's the one who had the contacts and all that. So he just pointed me in the right direction. He used to give a little backhand or two, do you know what I mean? So, you know, when they're involved and all that, the fly, but, mate, that poor girl, and, you know, he must imagine being him now. He must be raging him, you know. So Levy's like looking at me, and I'm like, no way, get on this. So he went, what? I said, no, remember Jenko? We went, yeah. I said, he used to work with Thomas before Thomas was like with the old lads and all that. He's like, yeah. I said, lad, I said, get on this, here's what's happened there. So I told him, now, Jenko, he's Spacco's mate, not his mate, but they used to hang around together, but I think Jenko, he went straight and all that, you know, like when like years ago, when he was kids and all that. So Jenko used to work with Thomas. I can't remember what Thomas used to do. He had his own business doing something like, I think he was a joiner or something like that, or gas fitter or something like that. He ended up getting with that bird, this Lindsay, and he's just ended up smashing it, you know, I mean, obviously, so and now he's like, I don't know whether he works in his doors or he's got something to do with the club, but he's proper smashed it. And Lindsay's brother, he went night, do you know what I mean? Someone's done him, I don't know who it was or like that, but they've had a bad time then, mate, the family lately, do you know what I mean? And, you know, she was pregnant, and now he's saying she might be paralysed and all that. Mate, listen to me, you know, and you know what, you know what Tom's brother, he is a lunatic, mate. He's like Levy, but he's sad as all day, do you know what I mean? Not to talk to him, like, you wouldn't think that, but listen to me, he's a proper lunatic, mate. And Thomas is a lunatic as well. I think Thomas got about a 3-kill streak, do you know what I mean? Something bad like that. So he was taking chase, right, ages ago, years ago, and he ran a busy over and the busy died, and he ended up getting slammed for it. He got about a 5 or something mad like that, so he was off the scene for ages. You know, they're good to have around that, but I made my heart go out to him, so I'm just like, lads, now Tosh knows them as well. So Tosh was downstairs, so I went to like finishing off the Thomas and all that, and I'm like, listen, lad, if there's anything we can do for you, you know what I mean? He's like, lad, just keep it easy to the ground for me, lad, anything at all, you know. He's like, lads, and I'm just like, yeah, of course, can't be doing that, mate, just that, mate. What's happened there, do you know what I mean? Now, it hasn't been on the news or nothing, but it's probably going to be, do you know what I mean? And his head's proper gone, he's up the wall with it, mate, so, you know, if we can't do anything to help him, then whatever. So I goes downstairs and I'm talking to Tosh and that, and Tosh just like, no way. Now Tosh is, he's Thomas's brother, he knows him. I don't think the mate's mates, but he's had a bit to do with him, you know, like nothing to do with nothing like that, just like goes out with him, or he's been out with him a few times and all that. And I don't know, mate, but, mate, you know what, you know, if they need us, mate, we'll be there for them and all that. So I phoned Spacco, and I'm like, lad, no way, I said, what's happened there? Spacco's like, yeah. I said, how have you heard? He went, lad, Jenko told me. I said, how does Jenko know? He said, lad, I don't know. He said, some kid who was in a party opposite it, they've been put night as well, or something like that. I said, he's just told me that he never got put night, he was alright. He went, oh, I don't know then, lad. He said, you know, just rumour goes round and all that. I'm like, yeah. I said, do you know who it was? He's like, no. I said, listen to me now. I said, phone Jenko. I said, and keep it ear to the ground. I said, and if anyone tells me who it was, I'll give them 10 grand. He's like, yeah. I said, yeah. He's like, what's it got to do with you? I said, nothing, lad. I said, it's just me mates and that. I said, tell anyone who tells me, I'll give them 10 grand. He's like, go on, sound. I'm like, go on, get on the phone, just start getting round, but don't make it bang on it, you're asking round, because whoever it was who's done it, there's only like really one other firm that have the balls to do that. And not because they've got the balls, it's because they're stupid. Do you know what I mean? So, mate, whatever's gone on there, listen to me now, you don't want to be a part of that, mate. I'm telling you now, you don't want to be a part of that, because these old bands and that, mate, they've got proper reach, right? And I mean like abroad and all that. Listen to me, you are proper getting it. If they get whoever that's who's responsible for that, mate, they are proper getting it, let me tell you now. So me and Ethan, we go downstairs, we're just walking down the factory, right? And we're just like, lad, get on, it's all looking good, right? And Robbie, I'm like, where's Robbie? He's like, lad, there's always bouncing around with a white coat on before. I went, what do you mean, lad? He's like, you got goggles on there? I said, shut up, lad. He's like, he is. I said, let's go find Robbie. So we're running around looking at him. Now this factory's massive as all this room now. So he walks in the room, right? And Robbie's standing there in like a white, like, science coat, you know, what he's found in the factory with these goggles on. I'm like, lad, what are you doing? He went, lad, I was standing there before and some thing just sprayed all over me. The chemical for the mites. I'm like, lad, it detected a mite. He's going, shut up, you tit. I'm like, lad, it did. I was going, lad, you were STDs. That's what it detected. It's going, what? I'm like, lad, it's AI. Proper out of black. He's going, lad, I haven't got on. I'm like, lad, you have. I said, you go, proper riddled. Lad, even the eyes on you, lad, just sprayed you with mite killer. Crab killer, lad. He's going, shut up, lad. He's going, I'm starving anyway. Right now, here's the funny thing, right? Robbie is boss of pool, right? He's proper boss, but he hasn't said nothing. He hasn't been playing or nothing like that. And I forgot how good he is because I haven't played with him for ages, right? I said, yeah, I go and get a scran. So he's like, where's Chris? I said, lad, he's upstairs playing pool. He went, is he? Yeah, because Chris and Steve, they were playing pool. He goes upstairs and he's like, yeah, come for a scran and all that. So Chris like, oh, let me finish this game. So he finished the game, and like, I'm going to get pizza and all that. I said, go on, I said, get it for everyone. He's like, yeah, of course, I will. What does everyone want? Everyone just throwing ours. And he's like, so Robbie's just like, nah, I'll just get cheese and tomato for everyone. That's what he's like, because he gets confused, you know what I mean? So now, as we go back upstairs, we find it's like a homemade poker game, you know, with all chips and all that. And I'm thinking, no way, that's Sam, that's one, like, he wants to play poker. They're like, yeah, like, all right, Sam, let's start playing poker then. So we'll get a game of poker on tonight, there's going to be Brucey's involved in all this, right? So Robbie goes back with Chris, and he's got all the scran and all that. And we just all eat that scran and all this kind of stuff. So Steve eats the scran now. He's like, who's on pool next? I said, go on, I'll have it again, lad. Yeah, no, I'm all right at pool, do you know what I mean? Only from like being in jail and association and all that, but, you know, Steve's boss, mate, he's good. He's not better than Robbie, but watch what Robbie does, yeah. So I'm playing, right, I just got slammed by Steve and all that like that. So Robbie's like, he good at pool, are you? Like, yeah, and Robbie's like, I'm good at pool. And Robbie is good at pool, but I know he's got a plan because he's horrible like that. So I'm just watching it, so Robbie gets proper slammed, right? Robbie says to Steve, yeah, do you want to play for 5 ton? So Steve's like, yeah. So Robbie gets slammed again, and I'm thinking, what's he up to there? So Robbie's like, yeah, double or quit. He's like, go on, Sam, listen to me now, right? Steve breaks, right? And Robbie just clears the table. proper Adam. He's like, lad, get on. He's like, lad, transfer me now. And Steele's head's gone. I'm like, lad, he's sick of pool, you know. He's going, a little rat, lad, he's a proper hammy there. And Robbie's just laughing like, lad, you had yourself. As we're all laughing and that, right, of what he's just done, right, a few people playing darts and that, they're playing Janica's name, it's the bullseye. I'm like, lad, you won in 1998 Nissan Michelin. and a microwave. Do you remember Bullseye when we were kids? And it won. Next thing the phone goes, I'm like, no way, I said, what's happening, lad? And it's some kid, he wants tablets. He's like, have you got tablets? I said, yeah. So I went, like 10,000. I said, yeah, I've got them round me now as well. He said, well, because we had them in the bag, didn't we? Off what fucking spackle noodles give us. So I'm like, yeah. He said, how much? I said, £1 each, lad. He's like, go on, sad. So I said, do you want to come to Tommy? He's like, yeah. I said, no, you'll take these tablets. He's like, yeah, come on then. So Degs comes in. I'm like, Degs, what's that? Where have you been, lad? He said, lad, I've just been down there, just have a little look around the factory, you know, like reminiscing on me dad and all that. I said, have you, lad? And he said, yeah, I found some mad shit there. I said, what? He's like, get on this. And he's like, he's got these books, right? And it was like his dad's register, you know, for like what he'd been doing. Not illegal, but, you know, his business, like his dad, not like daddy, but like his invoice and all that. And I was just like, lad, look at the dough he's made there. There was like invoices for like 1.2 mil. What's he been doing to these companies in America and all that? I'm like, lad, what has he been doing with that right now? You know, 1.2 mil is a lot of money for a legit business to just be getting passed. So I'm like, no way. So he's like, what are you doing? I said, we're going to town. He's like, can I come? I said, yeah. I said, we're going to have tablets off, lad. He said, all right, sad. So we get everything ready and all that. I'm like, listen, we're going to go for a bit, right? Just keep clocking, just do what you do that. Mark, he's like, lad, I'm going to bed. I'm like, lad, I wouldn't go to bed in here if I was just going, nah, lad, he's going, it's sweet. And I'm like, where's Troy? He's like, I don't know, he's been missing for ages, not missing out the factory, but he's been doing something. So I just leave him to it. I don't even know what he's doing. Where is Troy? Because he's been quiet for ages, like, you know, like just doing whatever. So I said, yeah, let me go find Troy a minute. Goes downstairs, Troy's playing chess with himself. He's got a table, like this little table with a chair, this deck chair. He's just sitting there, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm playing chess. And he said, who, where? He's like, with me. Well, he's going, getting beat. So fuck off, Troy. He's like, where are you going? I said, we're going to town. He's like, all right. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm just playing chess. And I'm just thinking, that kid's like on proper, like, remember, I've seen the film Split. It's just like him. Just like playing chess with himself. And you getting beat. Only Troy, mate, only Troy. So me, Degs and Lev gets off and all of these tablets. And we jump in the car. And as we're flying the town, I remember Thomas was birds in Aussie. So I'm like, no way. I said, let's go and get her a card. And that's so we go to this like flower shop, right? And we get this big bouquet of flowers and all that right now. We're not going to be allowed in. I don't really know Lindsay, but I'm not really going there to see Lindsay. I'm going to just pay respects, you know what I mean? Because Thomas is a good lad, you know what I mean? So if I'm flying down there anyway, I'm not really going out my way. Sounds a bit like ratty, but I'm not going out my way. Would I go out my way? Yeah, you know what, I would. Just you know, bunch of flowers and that. I know it's not going to do nothing considering what's going on, but it's just nice to know that, you know, yeah, lad, there's some flowers and that for your bed, and you know what I mean? It's just a little bit of respect, isn't it? You know what I mean? Because he'd probably do that for me. In fact, he would do that for me, do you know what I mean? So, you know, we'll fly down there and all that, so get these flowers, get a card and all that, write a little card, I'll get well soon and all that. And that's it. So Lev's like, I'll write my name on it. I'm like, lads, you're going to buy a card, you meth. You go, nah, we can't just start bombarding them with cards, lads. And I'm like, all right, so I said, yeah, write your name on it, lad. And he's like, what about me? I'm like, lads, I don't even know them. He's like, yeah, I know, but like, you know, lads, you can't just leave me out. And I'm just, hell, so what, we're getting one card between 3 people? Lads, like meths. I said, go and get them flowers yourself then. He's like, well, I said, go back to the shop now. So he goes back to the shop. So Levy gets a bunch of flowers, and Dad gets a bunch of flowers and cards and all that. So, you know, I'll just bending on my graphs. It looks methy, Dad, doesn't it? It's like getting a birthday card, like you've got about 10 names on you, like your little meths. One bunch of flowers between 3. So we've got loads of flowers and that now, and it's not like, but get on this, proper rejected as well. So pulls up in the car park and that, so we all get out of it now. We're not going in to see Lindsay, but I phoned Thomas and I'm like, where are you? He's like, I'm in the Aussie. He said, I'm going to pop down a minute. He's like, all right, lad, no problem, thanks, lad. Like, proper made up. I think it's nice, like, obviously he's got his own firm and all that, but it's nice just to know that people care sometimes, so we can, you know what I mean? So when we get there, I phone him, like, lad, come downstairs and meet us. We comes downstairs. So I'm like, what's happening? He's like, oh, no way. He's like, what's happening, Lev? Lev's like, what's happening, mate? All right. And Degs just standing there, and someone goes to me, who's that? I said, that's Degs, lad. He's like, who the fuck's Degs? I said, he's my mate from Manny. He's like, all right, Degs, you know, proper sound that. I'm like, lad, you look proper tired there, you know. He had like all bags around his eyes and all that. I'm like, fucking, I said, lad, you look like you've lost weight there. And he's like, oh, lad, I don't know, my head's gone. So he's just like talking to me. And Lev and Degs are like sailing behind a little bit, right? So I said, well, where are we going? Then he went, she's on a wall up here. I said, yeah. He said, lad, so as we walked in, the nurse goes to me, you can't bring flowers in the Aussie, you know. I went, what? She went, you can't bring flowers in the Aussie. I said, what do you mean you can't bring flowers in it? It's an hospital. She's like, I know, but you can't. I'm like, what do you mean you can't bring flowers in an hospital? So what are you supposed to do? And Tom was like, oh, lad, I don't even know. Like, I've never even heard that before. I'm like, lad, I've never heard that you can't bring flowers to an Aussie. I've just never heard of it, lad, you know what I mean? And he's like, and I said, lad, when I was a kid, I remember my nan was dying of fucking lung cancer, and everyone was in the room with her, smoking round her. I said, how's it changed that much? Now, I've been in the Aussie for years, me, I don't bother with Aussies for general health, not like that. Obviously, do you know what I mean? If I had an accident, then that's about it, but I don't really bother with it. I just try and stay away from all that shit, because my nan said to me when I was a kid, right, you know what, lad, if you ever go to the hospital or the doctors for general health, you'll never get out. So I was just like, yeah, so just stayed away, and she was right, you know what I mean? She was right. So I'm just like, so we're supposed to do this? She's like, so I'm like, Thomas, he's going, lad, listen, it's the thought that counts, lad. I said, so this bird was coming out, and she was with a baby. I don't think she was in there because it weren't a kid, it weren't older, eh? So I think she was just like, a ma with a kid. So I said, yeah, I love her. I said, do you want to take them? She's like, what? I said, yeah, I'll take them flowers. So we've given her a bunch, and we give two of the random people a bunch of flowers, and we else do a getting off. It's fucking out, what you want to do, 12 minute bin, just pay like a one for them. It's like 3 tons worth of flowers. No, it's nothing, but 3 tons worth of flowers, is them putting them in the bin. So we end up with just these cards, right, the proper snide, goes up and all that, and as we goes up onto the walls, where Lindsay is, the dar's there, the opens are. So he comes out, he's like, no way, what's happening, Scouse? I'm like, what's happening, mate? You're all right? Sorry to hear about that. And he's like, I know, lad, I know. He's like, how's your thing going? He said, proper sound and all that. Next thing, this kid just puts his arm on my shoulders, turned around, it's Thomas' brother. I'm like, no way. I said, what's happening, lad? And Lev's like, what's happening, lad? He's like, fucking hell, lads, I haven't seen you for ages. And I'm like, how's Tosh? I said, oh, he's sad and all. He's like, what are you up to? It's just, no, lad, this, that. So what I mean? So as we walks over, there's these 3 big goons there right now. These big goons, they work for Thomas, but I didn't know they worked for Thomas. I called the Bruiser threesome because 2 of them are brothers and one's the cousin. So I'm like, no way. I said, what are you doing? They're standing there looking proper bang on. And they're just like, oh, what's happening, lad? I'm like, what are you doing with these? He's like, we work on the bar and a day club and all. I'm like, do you? Yeah, fucking hell, lad, where have I been? Been off the sea for ages. I'm like, how's it going? How are your kids not? To talk to the 3 bruisers. And then, we end just cut a long story short, we end up getting off. And as we're going out, this Busy walks over to me, this proper bastard Busy, you know. And he's with his mate, right, pair of absolute knobheads. And he goes to me, what are you doing here, lads? And I'm like, you talking to me? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, hello, Levington. And Levy's just looking at me and I'm looking at him. And he's going, who's the new face? And Deg is just like, well, I'm like, shut up, lads. Did you want to tell him his name? Shut up, lads. And he's like, what? I'm like, lad, the Busies. He's going, oh, Hardy. I'm like, Hardy. Look, lads, they couldn't be any more bang on. So the Busies going, oh, what's wrong with you and the law, lad? He's like, what are you doing in here anyway, lad? Who have you come to see? I said, my auntie and that. He said, yeah. He said, have you come to see Thomas? I said, who's Thomas? He's like, and he just looks at me with this like weird look in his eye. I'm thinking, oh, fuck that, mate, only related to them. So I'm like, anyway, see you later, lad. He's looking fucking turning out, you pair of divvies. And he's like, fuck off, Scouse, lad. I'm like, shut up, you pair of divvies. So he gets in the car and gets off and all that. Now remember, we've still got 10,000 Garys in the boot. So them Busies would have been like, hey, what are you? He was being fucked. So fuck that, we were going. So we get on, we go see this kid with tablets and all that, talking to him for a bit, like, what's happening, lad? The kid's bars there, the lad's bars there. She's like, what's happening? I'm like, what's happening? You know, known them and that, you know what I mean? Known them for a while, so it's only polite, isn't it? So he's like, do you want a brew? I'm like, nah, you know, we've got to go. And she's like, have a brew, lads. I'm like, ah. So then me, Eggs and Levin, just sitting his kids with his bar, having a brew, all his bar's proper sound, and that's all. She's old school, mate, like proper sound bar and all that. And he's like, nah. She's going, what have you come here for? And I'm, that's what I'm supposed to say. I said, no, just to see him for a bit. She's like, oh yeah, she's like, I've been round for ages. I'm like, I know. Those are like pleasantries and all that. So he's looking at me, mate's looking at me, he's like, shh, like, lad, I'm on it, I'm stupid. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, gets off from there and all that, right, see you later. And next thing the phone goes and Spackle, someone in the car, I've got a loudspeaker, and there's me, Eggs and Levin in the car, and Spackle goes to me, lad, I'm like, what about, I need you to come to Manny. I said, what do you need to come to Manny? He's like, lad, he said, I've only got this plate there, and I can't really come to, I'm like, what you want, lad? I said, what are you on about? He's like, lad, I need you to come to Manny, and I need to bring that 10 grand you said. And I'm like, what are you on about? I forgot about it. He went, lad, the 10 grand you said for the info. And I'm like, why, what do you know, lad? He's like, oh, lad, can I just talk to the person? I'm like, listen, lad, I said, no, if you drag me to Manny now. I said, I'm with Levin. I said, no, if you drag me to Manny now. I said, lad, and it's not, he goes to me, listen, lad, he's like, Jenko's on his way down here now. I'm like, Jenko? And I thought, this is serious, you know what I mean? And, you know, we've only been in the Aussie with Thomas and all that, and all that. So I'm like, come on, son. I said, yeah, give me about 2 hours, then 3 hours. He's like, all right, son. So he flies back to the factory and all that. And we've got the door the tablets anyway, do you know what I mean? So may as well just use that. That is the reward. I did say there's a reward if it leads to information, do you know what I mean? Now Jenko going to Manny, it means he knows something, doesn't it? He must know something, or the plot to get the 10 grand. You know? you don't know it's Spaco and noodles and that, you know, and there's Spaco noodles, Eddie, you know, Jenko and all going to like in this hotel room conspiring to get this 10 grand, you know, but I swear to God, you know, if they lie and someone gets it who doesn't deserve it, I'll give it to all them proper, so it needs to be told. So he goes back and says, like, lad, you wait here. He's like, what? So says, he's always like, what? He's like, come with me. He's like, what? I said, come with me. We need to go to Manny. He's like, all right, sad. So Marky's like, yeah, I'm coming. I said, come on. He's like, why can't I come? I'm like, because we need you here, lad. Do you know what I mean? I can't start bouncing around fives up and all that. He's like, all right, sad. So there's me, Levy, Marky, and Ezo. So we've all jumped in the car, and now we had to do stuff in the factory for a little minute. So we've been in the factory for about an hour and all that, do you know what I mean? So end up getting in the car and flies to Manny to go to this Malmaiden to go and speak to these, you know. What do these know? What do these know? So we've got the 10 grand, you can have the 10 grand, you know what I mean? You know, I'm happy because, you know, them flowers just got legged, so, you know, there's 10 grand towards the course, you know what I mean? I'm really asked about it because we got the tablets for on anyway. So what? It's nothing to me, do you know what I mean? So we get to this Malmaiden in Manny, right, and we goes in, all that goes up to the room, and you should see the state of the room. It looked like a fucking bomb got off. I was like, lad, you little mess. Like last time we went, it was proper pristine, you know what I mean? So Spaco, Noodles, Eddie, and Jenko were in there. So I said, right, talk to me. And Jenko was like sort of half para. I said, listen, lad, I said, what's going on with you? I said, what's that? And now I don't really know Jenko, I don't even know, I just know his name, do you know what I mean? And he's only a young kid, and he seems like a nice lad and all that. And he said, will this come back on me? I said, no. I said, nothing will come back on you. I said, but, you know, if you lie to me, lad, I said, I'll fucking do you myself. And he's like, lad, I wouldn't dream of it. And Noodles saying, I said, Noodles, shut up, I'm not talking to you. I said, I'm not talking to you, am I? I said, was I talking to you? He's like, no, so shut up then. I was like, fuck off. So I'm talking to this kid, right, and the kid's saying to me, well, I don't know whether it's like this lad, but, you know, on my Facebook, I've got this woman, and the woman's like a family sort of friend, and her son got killed, and it was the same night. And he said, was it? Yeah. I said, show me. So he's gone on his Facebook and showed me all that. And I'm like, what? I said, no way. I said, what's his son's name? Because it didn't say his son's name. He told me. And I thought, you know what, I've heard of that name, you know. And you know what, I'm going to him, okay, so what have you got for me, lad? What's like solid? He went, well, I know who he goes with, I know who his best mate is. And if he was there and that was him who got killed, then it'll be his mate. And I'm like, yeah. He said, lad, they both just take the proper on the fucking mingies. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Now the kid who's been killed, I've put a name to him, do you know what I mean? I've got a name to him, but yeah, you can't start just like, you can't start doing all that, do you know what I mean? So I said, listen, you're going to have to come with me. He's like, what? I said, all you're going to have to come with me. They're like, what? I said, listen, you're fucking coming with me. They're like, what? I said, follow us, because we had no room in the car. I said, you go first and we'll block for you, right? Because their car was a plater. They're like, all right, sound. So rings Thomas. I said, I need to speak to you. He said, what about? I said, just something that, you know, might be something, it might be nothing. And he's like, oh yeah? I said, yeah. I said, what do you want to do? He said, I'm not going back to Rosie, lad. I said, because them busy. And he went, lad, bastard. I said, lad, he called me before, asking me to know you and all that. He's like, lad, he said, you should see what he said to me tonight. He said, yeah. He said, lad, he said, you've been in Manchester, haven't you? He went, yeah. He went, how long will you be? I said, well, I'm just setting off from Manny now. He's like, Manny? I said, yeah, lad. I said, listen to me, lad. You know, it's something, lad. I said, I'm bringing the kids, lad. He's like, who? I said, just the lads who told me something, lad. I said, you know, I'm not relaying information to you, lad. Speak to them yourself. He's like, all right, I will do. He said, we'll go on, we're going to go back now. He said, because Lindsay's out anyway, she's a kip and all that, and you know, we're going to go back, I'm going to get changed and all that. He said, do you want to come to Manchester? I said, yeah. He said, I'm going to be with these though. He's like, all right, sound, mate, sound. So we flies up to this mansion, right, and there's me, Marky, Levo and Ezo in one car, and then there's Spaco, Noodles, Eddie, and Jenko in another car. So these are shot pattern, obviously. So we turns up to this mansion, right, and gets out. I'm like, yeah, so press the buzzer on the gate and all that. I should see the side, this gaff, it's ridiculous, you know. So as we goes in, all that, he drives in, I'm like, listen to me now. I said, you know, when we walk in here, I said, he's playing with heavy kids here, you know, mate. And Jenko's like, lad, I know him, he's my mate. I said, Tom's your mate. He said, oh, you used to work for him, didn't you? He's like, yeah. So how long did you work for him for? He's like, about a month. I said, is that it? I said, I thought you used to work for him. He said, well, I did for about a month. I'm like, lad, I said, how long haven't you seen him for? He's like, years, lad. I said, lad, I said, what about 10 years ago? He's like, yeah. I said, lad, don't speak to him like he's your mate, he's a different person than when you knew him, lad. I said, so, you know, I said, he's going to probably be like, why are you here, do you know what I mean? And I didn't forget about it, but I forgot about it. I was like, fucking hell, I thought, you know what, now, I'm not saying nothing to him, because I'm not going to start saying to Tom, so lad, just let them deal with themselves, do you know what I mean? I said, don't stutter, tell the truth. I said, don't blag nothing. I said, because if you lie, and something bad happens, it's going to be on you, right? Because I'm not telling these, you're telling these. So they're all proper pad and all that, right? So we goes in. So Thomas opens the door, I'm like, what's happening, mate? And he walks in right now. The three brothers are there, the dad's there, Thomas's brother and Thomas is there, right? So he walks in and we go, there's like a little bar thing, so we're all just sitting there having a little brandy and all that, right? Talking. So Thomas says to Jenko, where do I know you from? He's me mate, And he's like, I used to work with you. He's going, that's right, innit? You're such and such, aren't you? He's like, yeah. And he's going, why are you here, lad? Why are you here? And you just see Jenko just go, but he wasn't being like that, you know what I mean? And Thomas was like, you know, he's stressed and that, so he's talking to Jenko and that. And he's like, yeah, so Jenko shows him on his phone, all that, this, that. So Thomas goes, lads, what do you reckon? I said, I don't know, you know, lads. I said, it's a bit of a coincidence, you know what I mean? I said, I knew his name in there, lads. Do you think they're on one, you know what I mean? Which I knew anyway, but they're only Muppet. He's going, I know, he's going, it's got to be something to do with that. And I said, maybe, lad, maybe. So Jenko goes to me, lads, can I have the dough now? And I went, oh. He said, lad, the dough, the dough you said. So I said, yeah. I said, what the fuck, you know, why are you saying that in here? So Thomas goes to me, what do you mean? I said, I told him I'd give him a little reward if he finds out. He goes, what? I said, lad, I told him give him 10 grand. Thomas like, lad, fuck off. He's going, I'll give him the 10 grand. I'm like, lad, don't worry about it. He's going, nah, lad. He said, nah, fuck that, lad. I said, lad. And then the dad's like, what? So I'm like, listen, just let's not make a point of it, right? I'm not asked about the 10 grand. I've got it for nothing anyway. So he's going, nah, do you know what, lad? Nice one. I said, lad, do what you will with that information, right? I said, obviously, you know yourself. I'm not telling you what to do, but don't go all in. I said, just, you know, find out what's going on. He's like, I will. I said, I'll see what I can do as well. So he's like, Sam, nice one. And Levy's like, lad, do you want me to do him? I'm like, Levy, shut up, lad. He's going, what? I'm like, what's got nothing to do with you, lad? I said, mind your own business. So the dad's going to me, yeah, that's right. That he's going, and Lev's just like Lev knows his place, you know what I mean? He was start messing around with the dad. Not so much Thomas, like, you know what I mean? Thomas just like, oh, he's, you know what I mean? It is what it is for him, but, you know, the dad and that, mate, he's a proper heavy, do you know what I mean? So, see what happens there, and then Thomas' brother, he's like, lad, what's that? He's going, nice one for that. So they're like pulling me to the side, you know what I mean? Just like, nice one. I'm like, go on, lad, no problem at all. It's not no problem at all. It's not no problem at all. You just fucking killed your kid, lad. I'm not saying that to him, obviously, but in my head, I'm like, you just killed your kid, lad, and paralysed your birds or something. Yeah, fucking hell, lads. If we can be a help, we'll be a help, do you know what I mean? No, they do it for me. That's just how it goes in Liverpool, do you know what I mean? And it is what it is, and you know, if you're big in the game and other people are big in the game, then you're going to know them. It's going to be weird if you don't know them. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, see what happens there, innit? But I'm telling you now, there's going to be blood on the streets soon, mate. If that turns out how that is, right, they'll just nap them and they'll do them. And that. So that's us out of it now, do you know what I mean? You know, we've done our part, and, you know, I've given 10 grand to the cause and that. We've tried to give it back. I don't want it back, but, you know, let's just see what happens. But I'm telling you now, mate, you do not want to be a part of their investigation. Let me tell you that right now. So now these have got to get home, do you know what I mean? He's got to get home, so we ended up dropping Jenko off because he only lives by us, do you know what I mean? So we dropped Jenko off on that, and these are going back to Manny, but I can't wait, I'm not driving a block and all them back to Manny and driving back. So I said, yeah, come here. So he said, what? So I'll go to this boozer, there's a boozer on the dock road. I said to him, yeah, I'll go and have a pint in there and I'll get something sorted. I said, he's always said, what? I said, drive this fucking plate up behind us, lad, in front of us, and we'll block you, get it back to where we're going. He said, yeah. He said, then what? I said, we'll sort it. So we get back to the factory, as we left them in the boozer there, just having a little bevy and all that, you know what I mean? So I said to the lad, get your car. He went, what? I said, your car's insured for anyone to drive, innit? He's like, yeah, as long as they're over fucking 18. I'm like, yeah, sounds. I said, anyone? He went, yeah. So if we give Spacco this car, Spacco's got a license, he's legit in it, do you know what I mean? So he's like, lad, what do you mean? I said, have you got anything in the car? He's like, no. I said, get your car. He's like, well, I said, lad, you can use my car. He's like, go ahead, sound. So I've got a feeling that he's just going to be going everywhere tomorrow in my car, do you know what I mean? Because he loves my car. So I said, all right. He's, oh yeah, follow me in Deggs' car. He said, go on, sound. So I fly down to the boozer and we gives them Deggs' car. And then they're like, sound. So they're like, yeah, sound. I said, you're legit in that, lad. I said, go and take them on me. He said, lad, you fucking bend it. You mend it for your mate's car. They're like, lad, it's a beast. I said, I know it's a fucking beast. I said, you know if you bend it, lad? I said, you mend it. I said, I'll swear, lad, you'll be in death for life. Now, it's only an RS6, but not only an RS6, it's a beast, you know what I mean? But, you know, in their hands, mate, it's a fucking missile, isn't it? They're buzzing, they're just in an RS6 now, just flying. So we leaves them to it, they gets off and all that, so we goes back to the factory, he's like, lad, who's got my car? I said, Spacco. He's going, what? I said, Spacco Noodles. He's going, lad. He said, he's going, lad, Noodles a car, Robert. I'm like, I know, but he doesn't have to. He's going, lad, but he'll try. I'm like, oh, lad, if they break it, I'll fucking buy you a new one. He's like, all right, sound guaranteed. I'm like, lad, guaranteed. And that goes back upstairs, right, and everyone's like, lad, he's a rat. I'm like, what? Robbie's been proper pool shark and everyone ever since. He's over about 5 grand. I said, where's Troy? I said, he better not still be playing chess on his own. So I'm going downstairs, I'm like, lad, what are you doing? He's like, I'm playing drafts. I said, on your own? He's like, yeah. I said, he won in chess. He went, lad, I got B5-0. He said, but I've done him 2-0 drafts. This kid, and you know what, he hasn't even had a stripe or a bevy on it, it's just what he's like. So I'm like, right, listen, let's shut the gaff down now, let's lock it down for the night, right? And let's just have a party for lunchtime. So I was like, what happened there? So I just told him little bits and bobs, you know what I mean? Not everything, because it's not no one's business, mate, and fucking dodgy subject, isn't it? So I've just told him little bits and bobs, and I know that just on a need-to-know basis for individual people and all that. So I'm like, right, let's all have a bevy and that. So we all goes upstairs, like, now we've got cameras everywhere over the gaff, and all the screens in where we're all staying, right? There's just fucking bunk beds and everything there, right? So you know what? It's like when you're a kid and you used to go away with the school or something like that, and you just all in like billets. It was just like that, you know what? It was proper funny, you know. And Robbie's got his own bunk bed because no one wants to go under him. Yeah. Listen to me. You don't want Robbie under you either. Yeah, fuck that. So he's just got his own bed, right? And he's like, everyone's just like, no, you was the last one in. He's like, I weren't the last one in. Yeah, fuck off. Everyone just ran through fucking all the stuff on what bed he wanted. You know, Robbie was on his own. Like a pink vest on. You just come with me. No one, lad. Right, so that's the end of that gangland, right? Things have took a twist, haven't they? So let's see what happens with this, you know what I mean? You know, where are we going with this one now? We've got a few different things coming in, yeah. What is the narrator up to, eh? What's he up to? The narrator's doing something, you know. Right, love everyone on the channel, thanks for everything, right? Love the support, share, hype, comments, blah, 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 if you want to. If you don't, then don't, right? Listen, anyone who hasn't got a profile picture, I've made a new profile picture for you. It's on the community, right? Feel free to use it, yeah, and be a part of Scouse Stories Elite, yeah? Right, that's me, Scouser out.